Let's check the chat. We need to do the chat thing because it's important that we know what all the wonderful chatters are saying, because I have a great group of people and I always enjoy seeing what's going on down there. Unlike so many other places, people are very nice here. Even when I have to pop off camera for a few seconds to grab my tea, which I try not to do, but this time I had to do that real quick. So we're back. I'm back for the Friday anime stream. Looking forward to see what folks want to talk about and chat up with on a Friday night. Unfortunately, maybe coming down with something. I've got a bit of a sore throat. Right back here, I can feel it. And just a little bit of badness back there in the back of the throat. But I can still talk for a while at least and talk about what's going on in the world of news. And there's definitely some anime news this week, which was nice, worth talking about. Let's see here. So, 2 new Rurouni Kenshin live-action films adapting basically the plot of the OVA. So we're going to get Trust and Betrayal, the prequel storyline to Rurouni Kenshin, in the live-action movies. I'm really curious to see where they go with that. It's going to be kind of tough to do, too, because Kenshin's only 15 in that. So we're going to see how they kind of de-age Kenshin for that. They'll do the Inichi storyline as well. So that'll be interesting. Kind of remarkable that they're going to go ahead and adapt just those OVA storylines, which again were adaptations of the manga, obviously, but they were very specifically self-contained to those OVAs. So seeing they're going to say, okay, those OVAs are going to do live-action versions of those storylines. Pretty interesting. Definitely going back more to the anime than to the manga in that sense on that. Pretty cool. Also, we have our first animated images from the new Ni no Kuni film, anime film, where they're adapting the first game into an anime film. And the weird thing about that, hey Jay, hey Gorilla Monsoon. The weird thing about the Ni no Kuni film is it's being made by Warner Brothers Japan. I'm actually scrolling down to see if they list who the animated by OLM, they animated Pokemon and Inazuma 11, among others, I'm sure. Let's see if we can get a good. They tweened a whole bunch of stuff. Been around a long time. They're working the original Hellsing. So what's weird is, and the trailer looks gorgeous. But what's weird is seeing clearly Miyazaki, hey Game Escape, clearly Miyazaki-esque character designs in a movie that's not by Ghibli. Where it's like, this just feels like Ghibli, but it's not Ghibli. And just, the animation quality is certainly there. There's, there's certainly a big animation budget here, but it just doesn't quite have the, that Miyazaki quality to it. Not complaining, it's just, different styles. So it's just weird seeing something that just feels Ghibli but not. So looking forward to seeing where that goes. I definitely would like to see where how the film ends up. So the idea for the film has been to work for 10 years, according to Warner Brothers Japan, which is kind of surprising. Joe Hisaishi will do the music. That's pretty cool. And we'll see what happens there. Do we have a... it'll debut this summer, so we get it in just a few months. That's great. In Japan, at least, of course. Moving on. Speaking of Ghibli, Walt Disney Japan has announced they're going to release an expanded version of the Ghibli Shorts collection. They initially did a Ghibli ga Ippai special short DVD collection, shipped in 2005, which had a bunch of Ghibli shorts on it. They're going to release a new one of that, Ghibli ga Ippai special short 1992 to 2016, which will collect several dozen, it looks like, shorts, some of the commercials they worked on, some web animations, and just various bits and pieces, including On Your Mark, the music video that Hayao Miyazaki designed and directed. So looking forward to that, definitely. And it's being released in Japan, but on Blu-ray, so it'll play over here. That'll come out July 17th, which is pretty awesome. Finally, of note, Animego has announced that its next Kickstarter project will be Megazone 23. Well, don't know if it's the next Kickstarter program, but I don't think they'll release it in North America, no. But I don't think they will necessarily need to, and I assume, let me just go back and check. Interesting. On Your Mark will have an English audio track. I don't see any information on whether they will have subs or not, but they're usually pretty good about that. I think pretty much all of Ghibli's releases have subs on them. Even in even like the Japanese release, they'll put English subs on that. So we'll probably be able to get subs on all those, even if you get the Japanese release. It'll be expensive, but you can do it. But yes, Animego's next project will be Megazone 23. That was part of their Kickstarter, a Kickstarter update for the Gunsmith Cats. Still don't know exactly where that's going to go, whether they're going to kickstart it or what. Megazone 23, a classic mid-'80s motorcycle mecha anime. And was very, very influential on the OVA market. It was kind of a big, explosive thing on the OVA market, and very successful, and kind of proved that was a way to make money, frankly, which is nice. So, always good to see some love for the classics. Hey, Matt. So yeah, I think that unfortunately Ghibli shorts probably don't have a wide enough market for Disney America or Buena Vista or whatever to release over here, sadly. I think they've done their contractual obligations for that. Maybe somebody can license it and bring it over here, but that's unlikely given the number of entities involved in these. You have commercials in there and all sorts of stuff that aren't simply owned by Ghibli. So this will probably be the only real release we see of this. If we got it over here, we'd probably see a chunk of it. So probably if you want it, I would order the Japanese version. Shoot. Yeah. There's a bug in my tea. I hate when that happens. My house has been overrun by ants in the last couple of weeks. It is ant season, and they're crawling all over my kitchen. Not all over my kitchen. That's an exaggeration, but they're definitely there. And it's spring. They come indoors in search of food and things, and I don't leave food out. I don't have piles of sugar around, but they're still investigating and trying to find as much as they can. So every so often I find a dead ant floating in something, and it's like, ugh. But oh well. It actually reminds me of Twilight of the Cockroaches, a rather obscure anime film from actually I believe the late 80s, where all the main characters are actually cockroaches, like anthropomorphized cockroaches, living in this guy's apartment. So if you've seen Joe the Cockroach, live action film from like the late 90s, I think, or early 90s, something along those lines. That was a little similar, although Twilight of the Cockroaches is much more serious. Thoughts on release of older anime? Yeah, I'm all for that. I think it's great having the classics available, and even just the not so classics. Stuff that's older. Joe's Apartment. Thank you. That's the one. Yeah, I think more access to anime is better. And based on what folks have been saying, apparently there's a sort of a renaissance and interest in the 1980s with the popularity of synthwave and elements like that, and I think Ready Player One helped as well. So folks are really excited about that stuff now, or more are than used to be. So I think folks are more primed for some of that stuff, and not just from the 80s, but from from back in the day, from that era. And so I think having access is always worthwhile. And we get to go through that cycle of excitement where some classic gets released and folks get to experience that and talk about it for a bit, and excuse me, falls back into obscurity again, and then hopefully gets licensed again and comes back out. And then we get better versions of that, more access to materials, hopefully, as time goes on. That's kind of the ideal. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Otaku no Video, I think the re-release of that was a big deal because it did so well on Kickstarter, and really showed folks, oh, this is a viable way of licensing something, and kind of gets directly to the folks who want it, which is cool. How often does anime get redubbed? Pretty rarely. Just because it's so expensive. The main reason to redub something is if it's relicensed by somebody else. So Funimation licenses something, and then that lapses, and then 5 years, 6 years later, somebody grabs that license. They don't necessarily own that dub that Funimation produced, so they have to redub it if they want to release it around. You also get occasional weird redubbing where, like I know Rurouni Kenshin was, they produced an international dub that was not the dub that like we got over here in America, but like somebody, I think it was a Taiwanese or Hong Kong company, maybe may have been Filipino, that decided to license or decided to make their own their own dub of that for English-speaking audiences. They didn't have really a license in America per se, but they knew they could kind of distribute it and release it in various spots. They decided to make one and hope they could get it out there. And then it got licensed in North America. So there's sort of this phantom dub of Kenshin out there. It's in English, but it's none of the voice actors we know. Haven't heard it. Don't know how its quality. But it's just so expensive to do that. Dragon Ball Z famously has been redubbed, just because again different licensors. So that's unusual. They did not. Tenchi Universe was dubbed with the same folks who did the OVA. That was the same cast. They've changed the cast, so Tenchi Universe has the same dub cast as the OVAs and such. But when they got to the third Tenchi OVA, I think they didn't reuse the same cast there. And same thing with like I Tenchi Moyo. I think that's not the same. But it's kind of gone back and forth. So sometimes they get some of the original cast. So yeah, it varies. And also you get those things where 10, 15 years pass. Things. It's often hard to get those actors back. They may not even be in anime anymore. So what do? Right? You're kind of stuck there. And it's kind of hard to say, okay, we're going to get back half of the cast. Like, why bother at that point? I know Slayers has been, the cast has changed. And again, it's kind of like, it's weird because there's anime where the cast changes. So, you dub season 1 and season 2, and then 10 years later, season 3 comes out, or an OVA or whatever, and that gets dubbed with a different cast. And so it's not like really technically redubbing. Nobody's dubbed this before, but it's a new cast. So actual redubs where they go back to something that's already been dubbed and released and they make a completely new dub of it, pretty rare. I think Ghost in the Shell, the original movie, has had more than one dub. Akira obviously had multiple dubs. Akira is kind of a special case because Akira is just such a well-known, well-respected thing, and that original streamlined dub had its issues. And so when it got to relicensed, folks were like, no, we're going to do something different. We want our own different thing. Name changes is a whole other thing, too. I mean, often names get shifted around for better understandability in the target market. And also because sometimes, like, it doesn't matter, right? When you're doing a kids show, for example, in that case, actually, in a sense, it does matter. If you're doing a show for kids aren't going to appreciate the fact that a character is named Yamato. They're not going to remember that as well as going to remember Matt. And the original creator is not shaking their fists that character is named Matt in the, Brazilian dub of this thing. Excuse me. Oh boy. So sometimes that happens. Um, and also sometimes it's a rights thing where you want kind of your own version of it, so you change some of the names around so that you kind of um, you can kind of put your name on it. It's gonna be a little sneaky. And then also sometimes it's just people trying to deciding they like a different name. And there also can be another example where or another situation where people translate it into a local equivalent, right? Where, yeah, and again, I think Digimon is actually a good example where they did a pretty good job of keeping some of the names the same. Where, so Sora is still Sora, but Yamato becomes Matt, and Takato becomes TK. Where they're similar, but it's enough to where American kids could grasp onto those words. Takato's just gonna kind of throw, not gonna stick in their minds the way TK will. I'm good to hear that, Jay. Um, Always good to be watching more anime. We've been watching the Eccentric Family season 2 on Anime Club, and a couple episodes into that, which is a little difficult to follow, but definitely executing more on the characters and situations in the eccentric family. So that's been cool and fun to watch. But yeah, so I think name changes are interesting. Trying to remember good examples of that, and I mean Digimon is actually interesting because they've changed they've like they've kept the Americanization of those names. Um, no one's complaining about that I know of. Other cases where they like really changed it. Well, Robotech is a good example. Hikaru became Rick, which is I'm not as much of a fan of Rick Hunter. That's just a very cheesy '80s sci-fi name. Yeah, there we go, Mike. We're our we're connected in that weird way. We're all connected. So yeah, I think that's definitely okay. So again, they changed some things. Like Minmay is still Minmay, but shifting it around things. And also in that case, I think too Misa, Lisa, like that's fine. There are a few names in Macross that felt like they were supposed to be English names, but they're sort of Romanized, Japanized versions of English names. It's like, why would you name someone Misa? I mean, Lisa, Misa is not a particularly Japanese name that I know of. And pretty much all the names in Macross are either, recognizably Japanese or recognizably like, real world cultural names, where Hikaru and things like that, Roy. So that was kind of weird that they had that sort of middle ground. So that's a case where I'm like, okay, Lisa, that's fine. But yeah, you get some weird switches around there. A Gundam anime. That wouldn't surprise me. I'm trying to remember. They've been pretty good about that. Because Bandai is pretty hardcore about protecting their characters' names. Let's see. Could have been like SD Gundam Force, or one of the kid things that came out. Did they shift things around for that? I'll show you guys something cool. There it is. So I've been 3D printing recently, and I want to show you something I 3D printed. I haven't cleaned it up yet. It needs a bit more cleanup. This is a file for a 3D printed catapult. So it's in several different pieces. You can print it more easily. As you see the back there. I guess it's a trebuchet. Or is it a catapult? I don't know. There's another piece that'll go across the top here. But all the different pieces of the thing there. Pretty cool. And I got to clean up this stuff back here. Take out that support material. But you get the idea. I can probably take off a bunch of this right now. So yeah, I've been having fun with this little project. My D&D group has been fighting off the demons of hell, and it's been a lot of fun there. Oh yeah. 4Kids definitely the example of name changes. So yeah, it's a pretty good example of the kind of thing you can 3D print and get some pretty good detail out of. So that'll be fun. I'll paint it up. So yeah, actually showing off at work today some 3D printed stuff because folks got interested in that. I was like, here's what you can do, and here's how cheap it is, and here's how amazing the stuff you can do with 3D printing. So let's see here. Yeah, there's lots of older anime I wish we had more access to. I'd love to see more Tenchi in print. I'd love to see El Hazard back in print. I really enjoyed El Hazard, and I think it's aged well from what I recall. It's a harem anime where the girls are all distinctive and have their own goals and plans and so forth. They're not all simpering around the hero. The hero also has a distinct personality and tries to get things done and is moving forward with things. And it's a fun, exotic environment. Pretty cool. But yeah, it's trying to think about other good. I say good. Other interesting anime. And there's just so much stuff back from the 70s and 80s and 90s that I think folks kind of didn't get a chance to pick up, but was a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot around. I'll be watching this season tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm doing the seasonal anime watching party with some friends, and we'll sit down, assuming I don't get sick. And I'll be watching the first episode of all the anime, at least all the anime that's on like Crunchyroll and Funimation and High Dive and all those places. So definitely looking forward to that, seeing what's out this season. Rave Master, there's one I haven't heard of in a while. But yeah, there's. Are there any particular shows from this season you guys have heard of that you want to check out more of, or look particularly interesting? I'll keep my eye out for them for tomorrow. Apologies, I'm going to be speaking a little more slowly than usual tonight because I can feel my throat kind of dying. Yeah, good and bad are not very effective. I really like High Dive. High Dive is a very effective. Oh, there goes the focus. One thing I like about High Dive is it's a pretty straightforward streaming service. Like you go on there, you go to your anime, and you just watch it. There's no drama around around the interface and so forth. It's just very straightforward. And they have some stuff that isn't on the other services that are really interesting. Favorite last season, probably Dororo. Dororo was just such a standout adaptation. Of course, it's still ongoing. But my gosh, as somebody who read the original manga, I'm just so stunned at how well they adapted that. And a true adaptation. Like, it's not here are the exact character designs, but really making that work for a modern audience. From everything I saw, I was just really impressed with that. And Dororo's kind of a hard sell. It's very bloody. It's very dark. It's a Tezuka work that doesn't feel. It's dark Tezuka. It's Tezuka dealing with humanity at its worst, which he doesn't do. Which he actually does a fair amount of, but folks don't like to talk about it much. And it's just very, very different. It's a side of him we don't get to see much of, and it absolutely deals with that. Like you got some people being the absolute worst that people can be, and it's just very shocking at times. So it's just lovely seeing that adapted in a way that does justice to it without turning it into, just complete grim, dark, absurdity. So yeah, it's like really really cool. Bokutachi wa Benkyo, cool. I'll keep an eye out for that. Yeah, 24 episodes is going to be, I think, perfect for Dororo. Because there's enough there to really get into that long-form plot of him regaining his body while also being while also not dragging it out. Right? I think the original 50 episode anime series was just too much. I haven't seen all of that, but what I saw of it, I was like, yeah, this is gonna feel like filler really quickly. But 24 is about right for Dororo. I'm really curious to see that. And then the other big standout for me last season, which I haven't seen much more of, is besides the first episode was the half CGI Pilot Girls show. Something Surprise, I think, which just blew me away. The animation and approach in that first episode was just jaw dropping. So that's one I think I want to. I didn't want to watch that episode by episode because I could tell I was really going to enjoy the art style and the approach to it. So I'm like, let me maybe not binge it, but watch it in large chunks. Wait for it to come out. So I'm looking forward to watching that. But yeah, Dororo is definitely really impressive, and I just really love watching people take something and kind of make it their own and figure out how to do a storyline. I am gonna do some of this. 1 second. I'm gonna try to see if I can get the support material off this. There it goes. There's so much that can go wrong with that adaptation, and seeing somebody with the boldness to take that and really say, no, I know how to do this, and I'm going to try this very particular direction with this, and watching it pay off is just so satisfying. That's really cool. Whoa, hello focus. There we are. Isekai Quartet. Is that the one I'm thinking of? I think so. So according to Wikipedia, those are all published by the original works are all published by the same company. That's how. So that's really cool when a company can use all of those bits and pieces it gets from all of its all of the things being made under it and just go for it. Isn't that how Super Robot Wars got started? That it was a Bandai Namco thing where they had a bunch of different, obviously a bunch of different mecha series, and they started reaching out to other licensors to say, hey, would you do something with us? Did I just tear out? I did. I just tore out the chain. So I just ripped off some of the support material on this, and unfortunately I think, yeah, look at that. There's a rope that I just ripped off of this. That's a shame. I'll glue it back on. There should be a rope there. Is there more of the rope? There should be here somewhere. I'll look for that rope. Is it in that? Doesn't seem to be. Huh? What did I do? Well, I can make it. Oh no, there it goes. There it is. Wrong place. Cool. I can make that. I can make it work. But yeah, there's all sorts of neat stuff out there. I think Super Robot Wars was originally just we're gonna make a game based on all of our properties, and then they were like, wait, why not work with other properties too? Why can't we reach out to some of these other companies and get their anime in there as well? And they did. Cooperation is cool. Often difficult, but cool. How do I get that bit out? Can I just rip that out? I don't think so. Oh, some of it's coming out. But yeah. Blood Bowl tells a PS2 game that involves Dororo. Interesting. Huh. I wonder what the Osamu Tezuka video game situation is like. Like how much, how much Tezuka stuff has been adapted into video games. Because it feels like that'd be like Disney. That there would just be hundreds of Osamu Tezuka licensed video games out there. But I honestly don't know of many. Surely there's like a new Astro Boy video game every year in Japan, right? They must just be churning those things out. But I sure don't hear about them. You'd think there's certainly plenty of characters to base it off of. And Tezuka's certainly a well-known enough property, well-known enough name to adapt it, to get all that stuff, to move units, as they say. But I don't know. Maybe Tezuka Corp or Tezuka Productions just isn't all that interested in video games. I don't know. What other Tezuka deserve anime adaptation? See, I love Astro Boy, but Astro Boy's kind of, it's been done 3 times already in TV form alone, plus movies and such. And so I don't see a compelling need for a new Astro Boy anime. Like I'd say, if you want to watch Astro Boy, just go back and watch the 2003 version. Like that's a really, really impressive adaptation of Astro Boy. Oh gosh, we have a good Dororo. There are a couple of Blackjack adaptations, so I think we're good on that one. There are several Phoenix adaptations. Adapting various chunks of Phoenix. So what I would love to see, but I don't know if you could do it, is an adaptation of his version of Buddha. So his biography of Buddha, if you will, which is 8 volumes long, like 8 thick volumes long. It would probably be, 12, 16 volumes as a regular manga. That would be really interesting. Because it is definitely about, the life of Amida Buddha, of him, and about Buddhism as a practice, but it's also like he tries to be fair and historical. He presents him as a guy. So it's very approachable to the non-Buddhist. It doesn't feel like a pure apologia about Buddhism. So I just love to see that out there, and give people just kind of that perspective on Buddhism and the again, it's kind of the history of that. That I'd love to see. There's some stuff that I'm like, nope, do not adapt to anime, please. Apollo's song, no. MW, no. What else? And we're getting the adaptation of Pluto, which in my opinion is like, yes. That is such a perfect thing to do. Yeah, we don't get to see biographic anime much. And I know it's out there. I know there is some. It just rarely comes over here to America. But even in Japan, I know it's not that popular. What video games get an anime? Honestly, I don't know enough video games to really answer that question. I do not know. I don't have that much experience with things. I kind of like to see an anime of everything. Like, I wouldn't turn down an anime of Horizon Zero Dawn or, Ni no Kuni. There we go. Ironic. Or, I certainly think... Is there an anime of Yakuza? There should be. There's my answer. Let's get an anime of Yakuza. That's just crying out for an anime adaptation. Really over the top, really serious. But with that slight goofy edge. Almost Fist of the North Star like. Although obviously not quite as completely over the top is Fist of the North Star. Okay, so I think I've pulled off pretty much everything here. I still have to clean up a few bits, but here's the top of the. Oh, come on, get off there. Okay. So here's that top cleaned up. See how much better that looks with filament removed. And we have Minecraft. Perfect. I think Fortnite, honestly. I think you could definitely make an anime Fortnite. You know, if they could make an anime of Street Fighter and all the other fighting video games, I think that's... You could certainly do it. There's got to be a way. Yeah, Fortnite is you know, sort of cartoony enough. You know, it's sort of kind of lighthearted and goofy enough that I think it would fit well with you know, an anime vibe of doing something that is, well, you've got, you know, stuff happening, you've got plot and so forth, but you can afford to be a little more lighthearted. You can switch tones quickly. One of the great things about Fortnite is that you can be, you know, deathmatch with comedy. You can bounce things around. Street Fighter anime? Yeah. I'd love to see, somebody said, I'd love to see a Street Fighter anime set in, I think they want a video game of this. They want a Street Fighter, I want a Street Fighter anime set in the, like, apocalyptic world of Street Fighter 2, the movie, the live action movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, just do this ridiculous Fist of the North Star kind of style Street Fighter. There's just this, you know, absurd, what is it, Bisonopolis, you know, apocalyptic world. That'd be pretty cool. You know, just go really, really over the top with Street Fighter 2. I think it'd be really fun. SAO Gun Gals is Fortnite. Well, that's true. I mean, the SAO Gun Gals does have a Fortnite vibe. So I think that proves it. We can go there. You know what? Sakura Wars. Sakura Tyson. And obviously we've had anime of Sakura Wars before, but I think now is the time. And especially now that we got an announcement of a new Sakura Wars video game, I think it's kind of like, okay, yeah, let's do an anime adaptation of that. I mean, it's cute girls who sing and dance and fight in mecha. Like, this is made for anime these days, for modern anime. Why not have another version of that? Maybe redesign the mecha a little bit, make them a little less steampunk, a little more sleek. I love the steampunk aesthetic of Sakura Wars, but you know, I think a design refresh might appeal more to more people. Be interesting, right? So I'm all up for that. I mean, Monster Hunter is basically anime already, right? So that feels like you know, Monster Hunter anime. Yeah, get some big monsters in there, people fighting them. Is there Monster Hunter anime? It feels like there must be. Monster Hunter. Okay, there's a manga. Monster Hunter Metzaporta Reclamation. Let me see here. I'm getting a. Yeah, so that's an anime, but is it? Okay. Cute girl, big breasts. And I say that because, like, they make a big deal of it in the trailer. That's not me being pervy. What is this? Yeah, it looks like basically cute girls in the forests, not so much monsters. Which doesn't mean it's bad. Oh, yep, that's definitely Monster Hunter. Looks fairly low budget animation. It's a shame. Huh. Yeah, unfortunately, the Metzaporta Reclamation feels a little paint by numbers. Welcome to Waifu Hunter. Yeah, could be. I wonder when, you know, let's see here. When was that made? browser. It was based on a browser game version of Monster Hunter. Not seeing any information on that. Is that coming out? Trailer came out 4 years ago. Oh, I think. No. No. No, that's not it. Sorry. I'm just not seeing any information on this. When this came out, whatever. This trailer was published November 28th, 2014. So presumably, either this is a trailer for the game, maybe that's what that is. So maybe they just made a 2-minute trailer for the video game that kind of looks like an anime, but there's no actual anime series. So there should be a Monster Hunter anime, like a full scale. You can have cute girls. I'm all for cute girls, but just do it, about fighting monsters, about all that stuff. I've not been watching Game of Thrones. I unfortunately had a hard out on Game of Thrones. Just various topics in there that I was not comfortable with. So I also find it weird that people who are like, I watch Game of Thrones. I don't like its treatment of women, but it's still good. It's like, if you have to apologize for it every time you introduce it, just saying. Yeah, totally. And I think it's a problem is that Monster Hunter would have to be high budget. It would have to have some really big name animators involved with it. Like, if you do a cheap Monster Hunter, it'll be very, very obvious. So it kind of needs to be a big budget anime series. And so it's not that they're unwilling to do that, but it's a bigger investment, I think, and it's something you got to approach carefully. That's probably the problem they have. All right, guys, I apologize. My throat is starting to close down and starting to really hurt to talk. So I'm going to have to stop it there. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. Yeah, wish I could do more, but I am planning on doing the seasonal anime watching party tomorrow, so I'll be on Rabbit. Check out the Discord for that, and go to geekarchaeology.com. In the sidebar will be a link to the Discord. From there you can get to Rabbit, and I plan to stream all of this all day tomorrow. And we will watch all the new season's anime starting tomorrow around 10 a.m. Eastern, I think, will be the plan. So hope to see you all there if you can join us. And that will be it. But yeah, would love to stick around here longer, but my voice is not going to hold on. Probably about that. Tea, honey, lemon, I'll definitely do that. Probably have a bit of a hot toddy here in a few minutes. And thank you all so much. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Till next time, watch more anime.